Picture this. You walk out to your garden on a warm summer morning, and your squash plant, the one that was thriving just yesterday, has collapsed. The stem is hollow, the leaves are wilted and lifeless, and you never saw it coming. The culprit is one of the most destructive pests in the entire garden, the squash vine borer. It tunnels inside the stem where no spray can reach it, quietly hollowing out your plant from within. And by the time you notice, it's usually already too late. But here's the real kicker. Most gardeners don't lose their squash to bad luck. They lose it to 7 simple mistakes they're making without even realizing it. And mistake number 3, it's the one almost everyone gets wrong, and it's the fastest way to invite these borers straight to your plants. So today, let's fix all 7 together. I'll show you the mistakes that leave your squash defenseless, and then the 7 natural guardian plants you can grow right alongside it to shield it from these borers for good. By the end, your squash won't just survive the summer, it'll thrive. Let's dive in. Let's start with the one most gardeners never even think about, the squash itself. Here's the truth, not all squash is equally vulnerable. The borers have favorites. Those tender, hollow-stemmed summer squash, your zucchini, your yellow crookneck, are practically a welcome mat. Their soft stems are easy to tunnel into, but there's a whole family of squash the borers struggle with. Butternut and most winter squash grow thick, solid, almost woody stems, and the borer simply can't get a foothold. So the fix is beautifully simple. Don't put all your faith in the varieties that are easiest to lose. Plant a few of the tough, solid stem types alongside them. Think of it as diversifying your defenses. Next, we have timing, and this is where so many good gardeners get quietly outsmarted. The squash vine borer has one main emergence window, usually in early summer, when the adults appear and begin laying their eggs. If your squash is young, tender, and out in the open at exactly that moment, you've handed them the perfect target. But here's the gentle workaround. Instead of putting every seed in the ground at once, stagger your plantings, a few now, a few weeks later. That way, if one wave gets caught in the borer's window, another is coming up right behind it untouched. You're not fighting the calendar anymore, you're working around it. And now we've reached number 3, the mistake I promised you at the very beginning. The one almost everyone makes without realizing it, and the single fastest way to invite these borers straight to your plants. It's leaving the base of the stem bare and exposed. Here's why this is so devastating. The borer doesn't attack the leaves or the fruit. She lays her eggs right at the base of the stem, down near the soil line. That little stretch of exposed stem is the one doorway she needs. And if it's sitting there, open, unprotected, smooth, you've made her job effortless. Sounds almost too simple to matter, right? But here's the real kicker. Most gardeners spend all their energy watching the leaves, spraying the foliage, fussing over the fruit, while the one vulnerable inch that actually decides the plant's fate sits completely undefended. The fix costs you almost nothing. Mound loose soil or mulch up around the base of the stem as it grows. Better still, gently wrap that lower stem, a strip of soft cloth, a collar of foil around the base. You're closing the one door the borer needs. Block that single inch, and you've stopped the vast majority of the damage before it ever begins. Mistake number 4 is one of the most heartbreaking because by the time you notice, the damage is already done. Most gardeners wait for the wilt, that sudden, dramatic collapse. But the plant was calling for help long before that. The borer leaves clues, a small hole near the base of the stem, and beneath it, a little pile of what looks like damp sawdust. That's called frass, and it's the borer's calling card. If you see it, she's already inside. So build yourself one small ritual. Every few days, kneel down and check the base of your squash stems. Run your eyes along that lower inch. Catch that sawdust early, and you can still act. Sometimes even slit the stem, remove the borer, and save the plant. Wait for the wilt, and the choice has already been made for you. Number 5. During that early summer emergence window, your young plants are at their most defenseless, and yet this is exactly when most gardeners leave them completely open. A simple, lightweight row cover draped over your squash during those few critical weeks forms a physical barrier the adult borer can't cross. She can't lay her eggs on a plant she can't reach. It's one of the most effective defenses there is. But, and this matters, remember to lift those covers once your plants begin to flower so the bees can get in to pollinate. Protection first, then open the doors for your pollinators. Timing, once again, is everything. Mistake number 6 is the one that quietly guarantees next year's battle before it even begins. When the season ends, many gardeners leave the old spent squash vines lying in the bed all winter. But here's what's happening beneath the surface. The borers drop into the soil to overwinter, waiting patiently to emerge again next summer. Leave that debris and you're essentially hosting them until spring. So at season's end, clear out the old vines completely. And if borers were a problem this year, gently turn the soil where your squash grew. It disrupts the ones sheltering below. A clean bed in autumn is a quiet act of protection for next year's harvest. And last but not least is number 7, reaching for a spray bottle and expecting it to solve everything. Here's the hard truth about this particular pest. Once the borer is inside the stem, no spray on earth can reach her. She's sealed away, protected by the very plant she's destroying. This is why chemical sprays so often fail against the borer. You're treating the outside of a problem that lives on the inside. Real protection isn't a single spray, it's a layered defense. The right varieties, smart timing, a protected stem, watchful eyes, and one more layer most gardeners completely overlook: the plants you grow around your squash. Because certain companion plants act as living guardians, confusing the borer, masking your squash's scent, and drawing her away before she ever finds her target. And that's exactly what I want to show you next. So now that you know the 7 mistakes, let's build your defense. These are the 7 natural guardian plants that shield your squash from the vine borer, and where to place each one for the greatest protection. Now let's talk about the layer most gardeners completely overlook, the living shield. Because the truth is, your squash was never meant to stand alone. In nature, plants protect each other. And these 7 guardians, planted right alongside your squash, work quietly around the clock, confusing the borer, masking your plant's scent, and drawing danger away before it ever arrives. Let's meet them. First, we have the Nasturtium, perhaps the most beautiful bodyguard in the garden. With its trailing leaves and fiery orange blooms, it does something remarkable. It masks the scent of your squash, making it harder for the borer to find her target. Some gardeners even call it a decoy, drawing pests toward itself and away from the crop that matters. Plant it to sprawl at the feet of your squash, like a living mote of color. Next, we have a humble but time-honored protector, the radish. For generations, gardeners have tucked radishes right around the base of their squash, believing they help deter the borer and other stem pests. And the beauty of the radish is patience isn't required. You can let a few simply grow, flower, and stand guard all season. A small plant doing quiet, faithful work. Third is the marigold, the guardian almost every wise gardener returns to. Its unmistakable scent confuses and repels a whole range of garden pests, and its bright gold blooms work like a natural alarm system woven right through your bed. Ring your squash with marigolds and you create a fragrant border that pests would simply rather avoid. Protection and beauty in a single flower. Fourth, we have tansy, a powerful old herb with feathery leaves and button yellow flowers. Tansy has long been prized for its ability to repel a striking number of garden invaders, the vine borer among them. Its strong aroma is its shield. Plant it near your squash, though give it a little room as it grows enthusiastically, and let its scent stand watch over the whole bed. Fifth is catmint, and this one may surprise you. Beyond its soft, silvery beauty, catmint releases compounds that many pests find deeply unwelcome, helping to drive them away from the plants growing nearby. It's low, it's gentle, it's calming to look at, and yet it's quietly one of the most effective repellents you can grow, a soft guardian with a strong will. Sixth, we have borage, the garden's great friend. With its star-shaped blue flowers, borage draws in the beneficial insects that patrol your garden and prey on pests while helping to deter the ones you don't want. It's often called a companion that makes everything around it stronger. Let it grow near your squash and you invite an entire allied army to stand with you. And last, but not least, is dill, the guardian that fights for you from the sky. Dill attracts tiny, beneficial wasps, the gentle, harmless kind that seek out and destroy the eggs of garden pests before they ever hatch. It's a defense that works at the source, quietly stopping the next generation of borers before they begin. Let a little dill go to flower near your squash, and you've enlisted nature's own patrol. And there you have it. 7 simple mistakes to leave behind and 7 living guardians to grow in their place. Because protecting your squash was never about waging war. It's about working with nature. The right varieties, thoughtful timing, a sheltered stem, watchful eyes, and a circle of guardian plants standing quietly at your side. Do this, and your squash won't just survive the summer. It will thrive, strong and whole, right through to harvest. So tell me, which of these 7 guardians will you plant first? I love hearing from you, so leave a comment below and let me know. And if you'd like more ways to grow a greener, more peaceful, more protected garden, check out these related videos. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell so you never miss what's next. Until then, stay positive and keep blooming.